All right. So next we are going to look at how we can update data, because so far we've looked at select. So we've been in the create, we've been in retrieve. Now we're here at update. Okay, so let's update some data. All right, how do we go about doing that? We see here the update method allows us to make changes to the data inside of the fields. To test this out, we'll see how it works. We're going to add another Miles Davis album, only will intentionally send the wrong data. Okay, so let's do that here. So we're going to say insert into album. Let me pull up my VS Code. I'm going to do it right here. So inside my data file, oh, excuse me, here we go. Going to say insert into album, title, artist ID, band ID, label ID. So title, artist underscore ID, band underscore ID, label underscore ID, comma, year released. We're going to insert these values. And instead of kind of blue, I'm going to say kid of blue. The ID, the artist ID of 3. The band ID of null. The label ID of 3. And I'm going to put the year 2024, even though Miles Davis is his transition well before 2024. So here I have my insert clause. Check your spelling on it before you run it through your server. Make sure that you have the same amount of values as you have fields. Make sure that they match up correctly before you run it. Gonna copy it, come over here and paste it. And there it is. It's pasted. Query OK. One row affected. So we put in some data that is incorrect. Well, first of all, the album is titled Kind of Blue, not Kid of Blue. Secondly, if you don't have this album, you definitely should have it in your collection, as you should. Thirdly, Miles Davis transitioned to the Great Gig in the Sky in 1991, so he couldn't have released the album in 2024. So we need to correct the name of the album as well as the year that it was released. And if you don't have this album, you need to correct that. So here's how we do it. We use the update clause. And so we're saying, hey, update whichever table we want to update. And then we're going to set whatever field that we're setting to be the correct data. Where is a specific location, wherever key matches a specific value. Okay, so currently, if we look at, before I update, I want to see how many albums I have. I want to make sure I'm getting the correct album. So I'm going to say select star from album, and it is the 13th one. I can see because there's an ID of 13. So that make sure I get the correct album. I want to update. I'm gonna write this update inside of my data file, and then I'm going to bring it over to my SQL Server. So I'm going to say update. What are we updating? We're updating the album. So which table are we updating? Matter of fact, let me put this in the comment. So we say update a table. Then we want to set a field to be equal to whatever data that we want it to be, where a field or key is equal to, I guess I'll say, some argument. This is the syntax for it. Okay, so I'm gonna say update album, and I'm gonna set title to be equal to, and then I'm gonna type this in correctly, kind of blue. I also need to do the year of release because that album was released in 1959. So year underscore released equal to 1959, where album ID is equal to 13.
Do we need that second comma for year release?
Yes. Oh, no, we don't. No, we don't. That will cause an error. Thank you. Yeah. So we're updating album, set title to be kind of blue, and setting year release to equal 1959, where album ID is equal to 13. Check spelling, check punctuation. I'm going to copy that from my data file, bring it over here to my server, hit enter, and you see that it says rows matched is 1. I found one match. How many rows were changed? 1. Now I come over here and I say select all. Well, I'll just say, select. I don't want to select all. I'll select title and year released from album, where album underscore ID is equal to 13. When I do that, what I do wrong? Oh, I got select all title. So let me fix that. Let me correct that. I don't want all title. I just want title. And there, now you can see that it has been updated for the correct spelling and the correct year release. Also, let's look at this. So if I did say select all from album, where album underscore ID is equal to 13. When I do that now, I can see that here, this is when the date was created. I mean, this is the date and time for the creation of this entry, and it is different from when it's updated. So that last update entry, well, that field was changed because we updated it. And so it timestamped when that update was made. So that's pretty cool because now, again, we can track, hey, when was the last time that a particular entry was updated? That's what that current timestamp does. As you can see, we're updating the album table. Then we're setting the title field to Kinda Blue and the year release field to 1959, where album ID is equal to 13. When you make the update, you can see that the timestamp last update reflects when the update was made, and it is different from the date created timestamp. That's what we just looked at. All right. Delete. Delete, delete, delete. This clause is used to remove data from a table. If I wanted to delete the album title Big Fun, something I would never do because Big Fun is low key one of Miles Davis's, well, it's one of my favorites. I'm not gonna say it's the best work. I don't believe in EST, but it's one of my favorites. But if I wanted to delete it, I would say delete from album where album ID is equal to 4. Be cautious, however, and I'm not going to do this, okay? When you're deleting data, you more than likely will corrupt the rest of your data, especially if that row has a foreign key. That key is used to connect one table to another, so you will probably need to reassign the auto increment feature to the ID of that field, or ID field for that table. It can get messy, so please be careful. So I'm not going to do this. One, because I don't want to delete that particular album from my album table. Two, I don't want to delete any data that I have. And thirdly, because as I've mentioned here in these slides, we have a foreign key for this album table where band ID and artist ID, label ID, those are foreign keys. And so if that row has a foreign key like it does, it can mess up the rest of the data. And it will throw off the increments. It'll throw off the IDs. So I don't want to do that. And in most cases, I will tell you, when you're working with data, you probably don't want to delete an entry. Okay, you can, all right, and it's all right to do that. However, that is not something that you would necessarily want to do. So then, coach, what would we do? What you can always do, let's say you have, a database of users for a particular, I don't know, social media account, whatever. And we talked about this before. What you can do is have a field that will set, that will specify, hey, whether this account is active or inactive, and which you can set that to be true or false. And if that account becomes inactive, this person wants to delete their account. On the front facing, maybe they're deactivating their account. Okay, they're deleting it, but you don't delete it, okay, because maybe you want to keep track of that email address in case that person tries to activate their account again, or in case someone else tries to use that same account. You don't want to do you don't want to have access to it so you can prevent certain things from happening. So you can always just set a field. We'll have a field that says, has a boolean that says, this account or whatever, this entry is active or inactive, set to true or false, and you can play off that. Then you can say, hey, give me all the select all from users or whatever where account active or is active is true, and then you can work with that data set there. But again, delete is a bad idea. I have it in the slides because I have to. It's a part of CRUD. It's CRUD, not crew. But I don't ever use it, and I recommend that you not. Now, extreme cases where you just have to do it, you just say delete from whichever table you want to delete from where, and then a particular clause, and then you could do it. But I would recommend that you not do that. Okay. So that's gonna be it. That's update and delete. Next thing we're gonna look at is joins because we're working with a relational database. Okay, so that means that we got we can now work with these tables and connect them together, and we do that using the join clause. So we'll do that in the next set of slides.